Hey everybody, Dr. Oliver here for backintelligence.com, and today we're going to talk about how being a parent makes your back worse. If you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button so you can get access to more videos that we put out. People come to me for a variety of reasons for back pain, all sorts of things, and one of the most common ones I've seen lately and that I've come to appreciate more is that of being a parent. I'm a parent of 2 little kids myself, and I know the stresses being a parent has on the low back. It puts a large physical toll on the body itself. This most commonly is affected in the low back, but also the neck and shoulders for people as well. Whether it's the mother or the father, we tend to see a lot of stress because of the repeated activities that people do. For the low back, it comes down to one thing. It's that rounding of the spine that we've talked about before, right? It's that flexion moment of the spine. A lot of it has to do with maybe sitting a lot. So we sit with the baby a lot, whether we're feeding them or if they're nursing with the mother. A lot of sitting puts that low back in a compromised position, which we've talked about. The sitting is very stressful for the low back. There's also things like changing the baby, which initially you do dozens of times, right? Every day even. So that position of slightly hunched over working in front of you repeatedly on end is very stressful for the low back. And then you have things like cribs. Leaning over the cribs. It's very difficult to hold a neutral spine and lean over a crib to pull a baby in and out of it. Then as the kid gets older, you're going to have things like picking up toys and picking them up off the floor. All these things are repeatedly bending and stressing our low back. So all this rounding and bending and flexing is problematic because you're doing it from your lumbar spine, your low back, right? Well, what we need to do is learn to hinge through those hips. So check out some of our other videos where we go through the process of learning to hinge through the hips as opposed to the low back. If you simply change something like working on a changing table with the child to, instead of this, to hinging from your back, you can take a lot of stress out of it. And you repeatedly do that, you will learn to stress your back less. So again, we're not going to be able to stop doing these things. You can't stop changing the baby. You can't stop taking the baby out of the crib, picking them up off the floor, feeding them. It's impossible, right? Obviously, you can't stop doing that. But if we can modify some of these things or maybe reduce some of the stressors, it'll be fine. If you're sitting, feeding the baby or nursing the baby, put a pillow in your lumbar spine. Get a little lumbar support while you're sitting there. If you can, change the position or open up your angle. So instead of being so upright or flexed forward when you're with the baby, open things up a little bit so you're a little more lounged back. It's very common, especially in mothers as they're nursing or feeding, to be staring or looking at the baby. This can be very stressful in the neck and the upper back. And I get there's an emotional connection there, but if you can periodically change your position or be in a less flexed forward position, that can help a lot too. At the same time, nursing. A lot of my patients I've talked to about if you can, and if the baby tolerates it and enjoys it and likes it, you can nurse laying down. It's less stressful. Again, initially, a mother, when they're nursing, or if you're bottle feeding, you feed all the time. So if you can reduce some of the stress in different positions, that will help as well. When it comes to the changing tables and the cribs and the off the floor, again, it's all about that hip hinging. So stop bending through your low back or reduce it at least a bit and move towards that hip hinge. The hip hinge is crucial. So again, look at the videos we put out before where it talks about, again, bending through the hips, not bending through the back. It's really important that you do that. And then there's simple other things like carrying the baby. Most people, most parents will carry on one side dominantly. And it's usually their non-dominant side because they want their dominant hand free to do things. Well, if you're continuously holding your baby for hours on end, this can become stressful. So I encourage you to switch off. I know full and well, my first child, I had to walk around at night for hours sometimes, and that was the only way she would sleep or rest. What did I have to do? I passed her side to side so it wouldn't stress my neck and my upper back. And I was able to tolerate that sometimes for 2 or 3 hours at a time, amazingly enough. So we can do these things without causing so much stress. All you have to do is modify them and be mindful of your positions. And being a parent won't be so much of a pain.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like it and share it with a friend. Also, research shows that strengthening your core area can help relieve some of that low back pain that you're feeling, but it's important to know which exercises specifically to do and how, and you want these exercises to be both effective and safe for your spine. And we have just the PDF for that. So if you'd like to get a free PDF of core exercises that are safe for your spine and are very effective, there's going to be a link to get them somewhere here on the video or down below in the description. Just go to that page, enter your email, and we'll send you that PDF right away.